All right, so we are in post show. We've got.
We argued to be able to have the vapes, so sorry.
There was a. So
Leslie
beforehand, yes, okay, so Leslie said you could vape in her house, and then I was like, you can totally hear that shit on the microphone, so maybe don't vape during the show. And now, oh man, I'm the only one not vaping now.
What kind of juice do you have in yours?
This one's chocolate mint.
I feel like I'm the only one with a fruity flavor. You should try mine.
You're still rocking the pancakes, right, Tony?
Yeah, I have.
I do no nicotine.
Oh, okay.
Fuck
I
that
do
shit,
have a
stay
no
away from
nicotine.
them.
So then why do you do it?
It's
It looks cool.
oral fixation.
I think it literally has no effect, though. I really want to look at the studies to figure out if there's an effect on pregnancy whenever you're vaping with no nicotine.
Mm-hmm.
Because that would be a great thing for women who, like, literally cannot quit. Like, that would be a good alternative if there are no
I don't know.
effects.
Like, okay, so I'm not a smoker. I used to be a smoker.
No, I would still smoke if I was pregnant.
I can't hear what you're saying, Tony.
I would still smoke if I was pregnant. Cigarettes. Not
Because
the
you're
vape.
a bad person.
Fuck that kid, yeah.
You know what? Just in case you have a child later on in life, I'm saving this
Right.
for that moment.
No, I'm kidding.
Play
I
it
would love
back,
the
play it
shit
back.
out of that little Mexican dude. I love children so much. I love all
Really?
children. I'm one of those people.
That's crazy. All right,
I like
so
cats and
I love
dogs.
cats too. I love cats, dogs, and these are my
I have
favorite
lost control in
things.
post show.
These are my three favorite things: old people, animals, and children. Those are my three that I will not take my anger out on.
Which is kind of coincidental because apparently in prison, and this is something I used to hear whenever I was a kid. It's like I used to hear whenever I was a kid around like a bunch of gangbangers and shit. Those are the three things that you don't want to go to prison for. One is harming a child, because a lot of people that are in prison do have
So you
children.
don't want to go to jail for banging children,
Old
animals,
people.
or old
Actually just
Are
like
you trying to
abusing.
say that I'm just like saying that so I won't seem like a criminal?
But no, like elderly people.
Is it
because a lot of
because
people never
she's
have that.
not white? Is that
Yeah.
why you're saying that?
Hey, I'm the one who knows about prison.
Oh, really? How do you know about prison?
I grew up like the area that I grew up in. I
She
don't think
dates
I
a
mentioned
guy
this before.
whose uncle's cousin friend went to prison.
She stayed at a Holiday Inn Express last night. She's a super villain.
Actually, so this is kind of an interesting story. The area that I grew up in is kind of interesting because it was a trailer park in between like a relatively nice neighborhood, and then there were two neighborhoods to the side of that. The neighborhood to like going towards Goliad was filled with like Aryan Brotherhood. Further than that was filled with Aryan Circle, and then the neighborhood that I lived in was full of like El Trece and like the Mexican Mafia, supposedly. Probably not actual, just people that wanted to sound cool.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was really interesting that on either side I got to hear white people arguing about how they didn't hate brown people enough. And then in my neighborhood, I got to hear about like everybody's cool as long as you don't hate brown people. So that was interesting.
So how do you know about prison?
Because a lot of them had been to prison.
You know what's funny?
They were
Speaking
in
of
gangs.
Aryan Brotherhood, my cousin Charles is half and half, right? His dad's a white guy, and he's in the Aryan Brotherhood, and he took him when he was a little boy to one of those picnics. But he looks more white, so he blended in with the kids, and no one ever asked.
That's
or
really
never
sad.
Said,
Because we're like
you're in the Aryan Brotherhood too.
yeah. Well, you're required to as a white person.
Yeah, everybody is.
Yeah, it's true.
We have tattoos.
Yeah,
I believe you.
you have to. No, I work about 60 miles away from Corpus Christi, and there is a shuttle bus that will take you down there. I don't take it anymore because I now have a Prius. That makes it a lot cheaper to drive than it does to take the shuttle bus. But
So you became whiter in the process of
Yes.
not taking the shuttle bus.
and more smug. It was a win-win. But the guy who would drive the bus was an older Mexican gentleman, and a really cool guy.
How do you know he was Mexican and not like El Salvadorian or?
Because
Puerto
I
Rican?
talk to him every day. Like,
Fucking liar! You just said that just now.
No. I'm about to tell you a story about the stories he would tell me because I talk to him every day. I would like sit next to him in the front seat. So,
I would
but-
add that in real quick too if I was him. Go on.
literally the story I'm about to tell you. Let me tell the story. So
You're being a very good token right now.
so he talked about this. So obnoxious. He talked about going to growing up in South Texas as a child, that he could not pass as white, but he had cousins who could, and literally like the local swimming pools and stuff would have a no Mexicans rule, and so he couldn't go swimming, but his cousins would just go there and say, "Oh yeah, my last name is Smith," and they would be allowed to swim.
Yeah.
And it would piss him off. But I'm just like, that was not that long ago, man.
No, we used to do that at restaurants. So another aunt of mine was married to a white guy. No one's listening to this right now. Okay. Yeah, and her last name was Yardley, and every time we would go to, even when he wasn't there, we would use his last name to get a table faster. Little shit like that.
That's
See,
crazy.
I've heard a story pretty recently of a friend of mine in Victoria, which go figure, like, this is going to go downhill the second I mention my hometown. A girl there had told me about a story of when she went to San Antonio. She was the only member of her family that was half white, and she was out with her aunt. And the car got pulled over because it looked like a car that had been stolen. And, of course, everyone else clearly can't pass, but she can pass perfectly.
What does a
as white.
car that's been stolen look like?
Well, it was apparently the same model,
It
kind
matched
of.
the description. Okay.
Yeah, well, the cop actually dragged her aunt out of the car because she couldn't grab her oxygen tank fast enough and accused them of kidnapping her because she was the only white girl in the car. And it's just like, this girl is my age, so this happened within the last 20 years. And that's what's happening in South Texas. And honestly, like, I'm doing a Chicano rhetoric project right now. I've already mentioned I'm a graduate student in English, I think, possibly. Well, I'm doing a project in Chicano rhetoric where it's like doing a diorama of something that's going on right now. And so it was like, I had so much to choose from. What I ultimately chose was that we had a Trump chalkening that happened on campus.
Chalkening.
Yeah,
It's
well,
like sidewalk chalk and the happening
everywhere.
put together. Is that what that's about?
Yeah, well, I happen to have chalk. Like, being the president of IF, I always have it on hand. Kind of, being
Is
able
that
to
like
get it.
one of the mantles of leadership? Is
Yeah, well, I
you
mean,
get the scepter, the
Have to have
crown, and the
the
chalk.
chalk, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I have access to it in our locker, so I grabbed it because I was pissed whenever I saw this. It was shit like, build the wall, lying Ted Cruz, fuck Bernie Sanders, shit like that. So, well, not fuck Bernie Sanders because we can't actually
I
chalk
would.
that, but similar. So, me and my friends, not affiliated with my group for the record, grabbed the chalk and started like responding to it. Within a few days, they had already responded back to the point where like just everything was this racial nightmare on campus of like, how can you guys think this? You're in fucking South Texas. You're in Corpus. You are horribly outnumbered. Get the fuck out of here.
It's not like being in Victoria, which is like all old white people.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah. At least there I could understand it, but,
Speaking of which, I was in Victoria this past weekend. Is there any place to eat there after like 11 o'clock besides Buffalo Wild Wings?
Okay.
I have to say, like, Buffalo Wild Wings in St. Louis was pretty good. The one here in Corpus is like just the fucking
The
worst.
one in Victoria is the absolute worst. I have waited
Yeah,
over
it's-
an hour
it's-
to get a beer.
It's pretty shitty there, but, when Symphony
Alright.
shit is done, where do you go eat?
Okay, I've got one for you that is not open that late, but that you should just check out. Because it's really
And maybe you can
awesome.
tell him off the air. Okay.
Yes.
Let's talk about Target.
Yes.
Because Target has been a target lately.
It's okay whenever I do it. Okay.
I didn't laugh or smile or anything.
I know. Like, I saw the shade. I was like, oh, damn. I'm about to get cut.
Oh, why are you worried about that?
I know. Why would you assume that I cut you?
Because that's what Mexican people do when they're mad at you.
Somebody get that. That's what they do in the movies.
What do they do in real life, Tony?
Masturbate.
With knives.
Knives.
With knives. It's all about cutting. That's
Ourselves. Not our partners.
Because of all of the depressing things that happen in your life, that's the only...
You know what's
Yep.
funny? It's like we like the most depressing bands, honestly. The Hispanic people that are actually into good music listen to the same depressing fucking bands, which is like the Smiths and Joy Division, Depeche Mode, you know what I mean?
right.
Like, I don't know why we all have that in common whenever...
Still.
Because you can't go swimming in public swimming pools, and you have to use a fake last name to get a seat at a restaurant. that might have something to do with it.
So about Target, we did actually watch that video that somebody posted it in the chat, right?
No, someone referenced it.
Okay, yeah. So we'd all just facepalm straight through the freaking table. Like, that was amazing.
So right. So because of the North Carolina bill, you had they are banning any town in North Carolina from protecting trans rights, and so we've talked before on the show about how lots of artists and companies are boycotting the state. Target is one of the companies who, as a result of that, decided they were going to say, you know what, in our stores, we don't care what bathroom you use. And that has really pissed off some Christians. Some really, really slimy Christians.
What kind of slime?
Like the worst kind. Like not the good kind.
The ones that are jizzing in transgender prostitutes because it's totally okay to masturbate them or masturbate to them or fuck them as long as you're not giving them rights.
As long as you're not giving them what?
Rights.
Rights, okay.
Just like it's totally okay to masturbate to
Patreon.
lesbian porn.
Yeah.
It's okay to masturbate to lesbian porn as long as you're not allowed to get married.
Okay. I understand the rules.
Okay, so this is one thing I wanted to ask real quick while we're on the subject. Did anybody debunk the thing about the governor of Texas trying to sign in a bill that transgender people aren't allowed to use public bathrooms at all?
That was satire.
Okay, thank goodness.
Yeah.
See, this is what living in Texas looks like for those of you who are not in Texas, is that really you can't tell the difference.
Right. No.
You really can't.
I think we're the birthplace, because I gotta say, like, modern satire is shit. It's total shit. The art has been lost, and I think Texas must be the birthplace of this crap, because literally you're right, that it would not at all surprise me to find that our governor was trying to ban trans people from every bathroom. That wouldn't surprise me at all.
And that's why I said, that's bad satire. It's not, and I think sometimes it works. Sometimes The Onion just has some great shit. And when people mistake it, it's usually somebody, from out of the country or somebody incredibly stupid. I wouldn't doubt that a bill like that was being proposed in Texas, because we have some fucking fruitcakes.
Yeah. I think The Onion does amazing satire. I think they're one of the only ones who do right now. And I think mostly what people who are pretending they're in satire do is really just fake news. News that sounds like it could be true, which isn't satire. That's not satire.
It was way too close to a reality thing, and it was presented as if it was a news site, like a radio news site, or I think it was not as a radio news site, but like as an ABC affiliate.
I think that might be because so much of satire has already been done that our shock value has been completely lost. Like whenever you go back to, again, English major being a dork over here, neoclassical period, you have Alexander Pope doing a satire of a woman who started a big political scandal because some guy cut a piece of her hair and he called it the rape of the lock. And of course, calling something rape, which I found out whenever I was in Scotland, calling something a rape is actually, no, you better actually be being raped. It's not like we use it in America of like, oh, I got raped by the tax exchange. No, it's not the same thing. But back then, that would have been a shock value. Now today, like, we don't really have shock value anymore. Everything's already been done. And so really satire has kind of evolved because of that, I would say.
I don't think it's because of that. So 420 Headshot the chat room says satire isn't meant to sound real. It's supposed to be obviously absurd. So that's where you get things like a modest proposition?
A modest proposal, yes.
Okay, thank you. Which is, although people took it seriously, clearly absurd, but makes a point.
Well, I think now the thing is, like, things should be clearly absurd, but they're not. And that's kind of our modern satire.
Except that it's not... All it's doing is propagating reality. It's not making a point about that reality. It's just... oh, look, like, Stop the World, the Teabaggers Want to Get Off, or whatever that stupid site is. Like, all of their satire is just, like, quotes from politicians that could totally be real.
Yeah.
It makes no point whatsoever other than, oh look, here's another thing that I hate about this person, only they never said it. So it's I don't know.
I would spark it at the point where Chappelle's show was kind of going downhill in the third season, where he actually felt like, he was reinforcing those stereotypes instead, which actually I just watched one of those episodes today. It was the first episode I'd ever watched, which is the one with the racial pixies, season 3, episode 2, I think.
Yeah.
So Nerd here is the queen of obscure references, but go ahead.
Yeah, but
You didn't watch Chappelle shows or what?
Oh yeah. But I'm not like steeped in the history of the artistry.
I just happened to
We
have
grew
watched
up-
it today.
we grew
If
up on
you
it.
guys bring up a comic book reference, I'll be able to do that. This is something that I just know because I literally did it today.
Okay.
But so the idea of whenever you're playing with satire, it is a very, very dangerous game, because you are either going to be creating something that shows how absurd something is, or you're going to normalize it. And that is a
Right.
very big danger. And with Chappelle's show, to a large degree, I think the educated audience that was watching it, and also the people that were actually being oppressed by these ideas, people that were being oppressed by these ideas actually got it. They understood that, this is meant to be satire. But then the people that, oh, it's popular, so we're going to watch it, they kind of just normalized it. Like, oh, well, obviously black people are okay with this. Or, oh, obviously all Mexican people, have leopard print in their cars because of the
Oh,
racial
yeah.
pixie skit.
Jeez, I gotta tell you, like, there is a guy I hate who lives down here. Actually, he is a Mexican, but
I hate my dad too.
he actually claimed vociferously that he didn't understand what the big deal was about the N-word, and that he had lots of black friends, and he was sure that they would be fine if he was using it.
Well,
And I was
okay.
like, oh, please go to work and see what happens. Go ahead and try that. But I think, yeah, I get what you're saying about.
Well, that's a very
Yeah.
big rhetorical argument. Like, with rhetorics, one of the big things that you have to recognize is your audience. And your audience kind of debates whatever you're allowed to say. So in certain situations, like if I were to whip out a sexist joke around close friends, they would know I'm not sexist. I'm doing this to be an asshole. They know I'm doing this because
Right.
I want it to be absurd. Now, I guess, around this guy's friends, that would probably be totally fine because they know he's doing it to be absurd and he's doing it because he's not a racist.
Yeah.
But in any other situation, and I think the bigger question there was code switching in a way of like, you have that code whenever you're around this group of people and it's
Sure.
okay. But outside of that, yeah, that code is not okay. And so recognizing, like the way that I would have jumped into that argument if I'd been there, would have been like, okay, the fact that you know it's wrong in another group of people tells you that it's fucking wrong.
This guy didn't know that, though. That's the point.
Okay,
Yeah.
well then in that case,
And
no,
it's
that
funny
is fucking wrong.
The time that skit came out, I was actually one of those people that was like, oh yeah, that's right, because I do see that. And now that I watch it as an adult, right? I'm
Yeah.
just like, oh, I kind of know why he canceled the show.
Well,
now.
see, that was the same thing. And something that you guys will know about me is that I will put myself on the chopping block because I know I used to be a really fucked up person and I've changed from that. And so one of the
You're
reasons
still
why,
a fucked
yes, I am.
I
I'm
was
a
gonna-
different kind of fucked up person. But one of the reasons why I will totally put myself in the chopping block is because a lot of people will argue I can't change. I've been this way for so long. Well, you know what? I was that way. And I can fucking change. And I have changed in a lot of ways.
Me too.
So, like, whenever I was in high school, and this is kind of a story that I'll pull in from the racial pixie thing, was that I had a... Oh, boy. The racial pixie thing was the Chappelle Show skit.
Okay.
It was the
that
one
I had
that
drawn
it
up.
was
Of course.
one that made him kind of quit, right?
Yes. That was the one where they actually pulled up a Times article that said, like, this is why he was leaving. He went to Africa, had
And
basically
I
an
understand
existential
now.
crisis.
At the
Yeah.
time, I was like, Chappelle, come on, dude. But now
Yeah.
I'm just like, I get it.
Well, like,
Yeah.
when those skits were coming out, and whenever I was a teenager and hanging out with my friends, there was one Mexican guy that we used to hang out with. Of course, our token Mexican. But then it wasn't an absurd satire thing. It was legitimately, like, this was our token Mexican. And he had told us that whenever he was in high school, he wanted to be a vato. And, like, we thought it was the most hilarious thing ever because this is a dude who plays, like, League of Legends and stuff. And so we created this idea of, like, what would the nerdy vato look like? And
Like me.
no, actually, we made it horrible. And, like, you guys are going to hate me for this one. So remember, that's not how I am now.
Sorry, I wanted to preserve not hating you. but-
No, it's okay. Like, I will whip this
No,
one
I
out.
was full on
just for the-
racist when I was a teenager, so it's okay.
Same.
Go on.
Like, so what we used to joke about is like, oh, so what did you want? Like, you know, an Impala that's like super lowrider and like have, you know, a Wii that's got the Virgin Mary on one side and your Wiimote will be attached to the nunchuck with like a rosary or something. And we used to like, we made this like a character that we made fun of. And it was fine back then. It was totally fine. And I never got a problem with it. And now looking at that skit as an adult, as an educated person,
Same
really,
shit, yeah.
it was
Something
like,
happened.
oh my God, what was I thinking at the time?
So, okay. So, because you mentioned you were racist as fuck as a teenager. And I know, like, a lot of, well, and even, so I work at a university, so I work with a lot of university students, and a lot of them have some very troubling ideas, especially around race. What was it that broke you out of that mindset? I was never, well, that's not true. Like, I had some really immature, stupid ideas that I would be very embarrassed for anyone to know about now. But I was never like what you guys are talking about.
No, I was racist. I went through a phase where I was totally racist against my own kind.
Yeah.
And
And that's actually very common
Yeah.
down here as far as my observations.
And
are.
Let
would-
the Mexican woman talk.
please. No. I would, like, whenever I would hear racist things, I would agree with them just so I can be accepted. I'd be like, oh, yeah, I agree, you know? And I also went through a phase where I thought black people were whiny and they needed to go over it.
Oh,
I went
yeah,
through that phase.
yeah.
And then I went through, after all that, when I was about 18, I was just like, I hate white people. Let's, like, Malcolm X, like, separate them from me right now. When I was about
Can
18.
I jump in real quick?
And my sister and
Hey,
brother were half
let
white.
her talk.
Hey, and this is with
I
half
asked.
white siblings and white stepfather. But I didn't see them as white people. I didn't see the Beatles as white people. I saw them as people I loved. And they were not the same as these motherfuckers that I wanted to be away from.
The good ones.
Yeah.
This is one thing that I would like to throw out there just for anybody that is listening because it's something that drives me fucking crazy. So would you say that that was a racist viewpoint to look at white people like that?
No, prejudice. Now I would
Thank
say,
you.
Now I would
Okay.
say it's prejudice.
Right.
But
Yeah.
back then, you know, when I was retarded and... Yeah.
Ableist.
Yeah. It is actually.
I was
That's,
sitting here, I was like, what is the word? I can't think of the word. I want to give her
it
crap.
is a
but I
lot
s-
of ableist shit. Like that's actually that. I think that's one of the hardest ones for intellectuals to overcome is that ableism thing. Like there's a girl that speaks very, very slowly in one of my classes. And for me, like it was whenever I was writing in my diary one day, I was just like, I'm going to write this while I'm listening to her so that I can catch up in between. That way, like, it doesn't seem like she's talking so slowly. And as I was writing, I realized, you know, it's not her responsibility to talk fast for me. It's my responsibility as somebody who is, you know, who doesn't have that problem
what,
to
dude?
accommodate her, not her accommodate me.
It's your responsibility to be tortured by her inability
Well-
to articulate a point.
At the same time, like, her points were really good, though. So it was
They're just
important
hard
for
to
me.
listen to.
Yeah, they were hard for me to listen to, but at the same time, it was like whenever I distracted myself with something, and of course I have anxiety, which sometimes kind of manifests itself as a superpower where I can hear two things at once and interpret
Yeah.
them perfectly fine. And so in this case, like I got to hear everything that she was saying and everything that I was writing at the same time. And so it was kind of cool to have this experience where somebody who has that disability, I don't know that she has a disability, so I'm not going to prescribe that onto her. But to hear that while also simultaneously kind of educating myself in that process of why we should be less ableist in society.
You know what, though? I have to admit, I am a little prejudiced still against white people, as in, like, when I meet them, I'm like, okay, what kind of white person? Are they cool like my friends? Or am I going to have to debate them?
I
So-
think that's a more legitimate claim, though. Like,
Yeah.
that's kind of a code switching thing of, like, because...
Like, we had this new girl, and every time we hire a white person, I'm just like, oh, I wonder how she's going to be. I hope she's cool. I hope she's smart. And I feel like, you know, they're going to judge me because I live with my mother. You know, I don't want to tell
Yeah.
them certain things. You know, I'm not in college.
God forbid, I lived with my mom up to the point where
Yeah,
she
but
almost
it's different
died.
with
like,
us, you know?
Yeah, but like it's you
But
know
with
it's fine for
you-
me, but
it's
not
fine for you because you're a girl and you're going after your dreams. Me, it's just what.
Bitch, you'll be going after your dreams well enough pretty
Anyway.
soon. Like that's happening. I'm
But
sorry.
I was telling Raul about it. I said that is still a form of prejudice that I still do. You know, I still have it. I don't hate them for it. I'm just like, I wonder what kind of white person
you
they're
know,
going to be.
actually, I would not even call that a prejudice. Actually, and
Yeah,
this
it
is
is.
why I would say it's not a prejudice.
This
for
is
one
with
reason.
every white person.
That is a prejudice.
This
I
is
would say.
yeah. This is with every white person I meet for the first time.
I can kind of see it though because you really don't know what you're getting into in that situation.
But so I think you're automatically assuming that being prejudiced is a bad thing. I don't think as a human being that you
Yeah.
can avoid being prejudiced.
Well, the reason-
Because all it really means is prejudging someone.
Well, yeah.
And so
The reason why I say that, and it is, I think it's a bad thing, is because people prejudge me.
sure, and
You
that's
know,
and
that's
But
why-
when people prejudge you for that, it's not a prejudice. It is a prejudice that is turned into a racism.
Yeah, I get
it can
that.
well,
It's
it can
systematic.
be it can, well it can be either. I mean, it's not necessarily racist because it may not be about power, but it's definitely prejudice. So I just don't think. I think that there is. I don't think prejudice is generally a good thing, but it's also indispensable because we couldn't get out of bed in the morning if we couldn't prejudge things like gravity will be holding me to the ground today, or the floor will not be lava.
That's applying an intellectual word to something. Well, actually, sorry,
No.
that is applying a colloquial word to schema, which schema is true. Like, that is legitimate.
No,
thing.
but I'm just saying that you have to, in order to survive in the world, you
You
have
need
to
schemas, which then translates.
you have to be
prejudices.
able to assume things are certain ways, and that carries over sometimes harmfully, sometimes not harmfully, with interactions with people, where you're just saying, this has been my experience with this kind of person before, and I wonder, and I assume, or I wonder if my interaction with this person will be the same. And so I don't think it's necessarily bad, but it's definitely, you're prejudging someone.
Yeah, I admit to that. And
I think everyone does that. I think everyone.
I mean, I'm sure you guys do it to white people in Texas.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I do that. To be honest with you,
Oop.
all kinds of groups of people.
Thank
Like,
goodness that was yours.
Like you thought I was a chola, right? Before you even. No, I'm kidding.
but like, when a woman walks up to me and says, "Hi, I'm a Christian. I'm from the Alabaster Ministry," like, I smirk, and I
How do
already
you smirk? Do it.
All right, so I've got one to throw out to you guys, just
well,
because I have a
Hold
solid
on, let the
example.
white
but go
man
ahead.
finish.
Excuse me, I'm talking.
Let the white
Did you
man
notice
talk.
I have a penis? Because it's sounding like you're not respecting.
I
the
don't know
penis.
which bathroom would you use at Target.
Okay, go on, Christian.
Whatever fucking bathroom I wanted to. Well, I was gonna try and bring it back to Target, unless.
Oh, okay. I was gonna throw out that story real quick. All right, so this was the story
You
that I was
have
gonna
to
throw
hit
out
her,
real
dude.
quick.
I didn't hit her. I gently.
No, you didn't.
He really didn't. We're good. So the story that I was going to throw out real quick, and we can jump into Target immediately afterwards, because I actually really want to talk about this. I'm taking a Chicano rhetoric class, which as a white woman, part of the reason why I took that was because I wanted to be less racist at the end of taking it. And I knew that I'd been working on it for years, but I thought, maybe this would help me a lot more, and it did.
That honestly helped me too. I'm not interrupting. I am interrupting.
Go ahead.
but-
No, go ahead.
No, that
It's okay.
totally,
It's a show. We have
looking into
to.
that, like studying my own history, like it made me less racist against my own kind. That's why I
Mm-hmm.
keep my hair black on purpose. I had a protest against myself, But go on.
She's protesting herself. Fuck you.
So-
Yeah.
The first day of that class really bothered me because there were 3 white people in that room and everyone else was Hispanic. And I use that word just because it's the easiest word to describe everybody
Yeah.
because I don't know what everyone self-identifies with. I don't agree with that word, but that's another
Just say
conversation.
Latino.
Well, yeah, but some people don't agree with that word too.
Either,
But
yeah.
yeah, so like there really is nothing that you can say that everyone agrees with. But anyway, moving on.
That's
noticed that on-
actually true.
What?
That's actually true. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what I found in terms of Chicano, blah blah blah. It's,
Oh, yeah.
it's not all going to apply to everything. And
Yeah.
I knew somebody who ended up not getting like a graduate fellowship because when Victor Villanueva came in, he was like all like amped about her and the great things she was doing, and she used Hispanic, and he wanted to hear Chicano or Chicana in the context that she was
But-
using it.
oh my
and really,
God.
and I mean, she was up, and she defended herself on it, but this guy was like pushing her to go to a school, and he just got all bent out of shape about it. And he's like, she was like, "Fuck
Gloria
that guy."
Anzaldúa fucking ruined that argument. But so the thing that bothered me on the first day was that, we had these 3 white people in there that seemed to be talking most of the time. And as you guys can see from this podcast, I tend to jump in a lot. And so it really bothered me
Good
at the
job
end
with
of
that,
that.
by the way.
At the
Like,
end
this
of
was
the day.
a tough show. This was a really tough show, and I really appreciate that you did that.
Yeah,
I
and I
don't,
was like dead the whole
Oh,
time.
what?
I don't mean to interrupt you with praise, but
I thought that was sarcasm, actually. so, yeah.
no.
But so it really bothered me that, even if we were the ones who were most likely to talk, that it was like nothing but white people talking in a Chicano rhetoric class. And then over time, I found that I was the most like radical. And then
I
we had
usually find that to be true.
yeah, we had one kind of moderate guy, and then we had one guy that you could tell was trying very hard to be, very egalitarian, but the way that he went about it was just so poorly, to where he was cutting off Mexican students, and it's just like, you're in a Chicano rhetoric class. I'm sorry, shut the fuck up and let them talk. But anyway, so that's where I'm kind of like, that's where I'm gonna drop that little microphone there, and let's go into Target.
Okay, let me
Yes.
interrupt real quick because I'm getting text messages right now, and I've been very rudely texting back while you're talking.
It's fucked up.
Where did it go? Oh,
Better not be for my boyfriend.
Epic post show, love it. And I was like, really? I feel like it's an epic. I feel like it's a hellscape of fail. No, and the main show is good too, especially the corpse fucking part. So I feel like that was like the one moment where we really hit it was with the corpse fucking.
Oh, I think so. I think so too.
That was classic Atheist Airwaves right there, and I'm very very.
So now I see what you brought me and Tony on is to
Yeah.
bring that fucked up side of things.
the corpse fucking side of the show. Yeah. Okay,
Corpse fucking period blood. Yeah.
yeah. Corpse fucking period blood. I forgot. About the
If
period
only
blood.
Tony had had her GIF reaction of the scene
GIF.
from The Shining where all of the blood comes down.
Yes. All right.
Or that picture of his bed. I don't want to say his because I don't know if he's okay. But I sent Kat a picture of a bed.
The best part is that it was heart shaped. It was like
It was
if I
shaped like a
were
heart.
Aw.
if I were not an atheist, I'd be like, this was meant to be. Of course it wasn't. But
told me
you
that,
still
actually.
had fucking yes, I did.
But I knew you're
Joking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Moving on.
So the thing I wanted to talk about Target though, and man, we have gone way off.
How many times has he tried to get back to
I know,
Target?
right? A lot of times.
So about lube.
Oh, we gotta talk about that too. We gotta talk about lube tasting.
Thanks to me.
But Target, the Christians are actually sending men into the, like, not trans men, but men into Target restrooms. For why? Does anyone understand what that they think that's accomplishing?
Okay, I actually had a reactionary idea to that kind of sounds similar now that I'm hearing this, is that I was thinking, like, if I see somebody, like, bitching about, transgender men walking into the wrong restroom, then you know what? Why don't I walk into the men's restroom and be like, hey, how do you feel now? I'm a trans man. And, of course, they're not going to fucking know.
Right.
But afterwards I realized that's really
although
fucked up.
They may check. I would
Yeah.
not put it past these weirdos.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Did anyone see the video of the woman who's a lesbian, but a woman, not a trans woman, being
Yes,
escorted out of
yeah.
the bathroom by
Yeah.
That was
security?
disgusting, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm like, and at what point they're like, do you have any ID? Like,
To use the restroom?
to use the restroom? Really?
Well, you need an ID if you're brown and live in Arizona. So
That's true. Like, at all times.
You don't know how fucking pissed. That's whenever I was just like, separation of the black and like Malcolm X. That's whenever I was like, fuck these.
Export all the white people to...
I wanted them, well, except for my siblings and my stepdad.
and me. You
And
couldn't live without me.
You, well, I didn't know you at the time, but, and all the white people I wanted to have sex with at the time. Except for all of them.
They could be in Tony's little palace as her personal harem.
Tony has a list.
And my favorite bands, but yes.
But see, my big deal with the transgender bathroom thing, and this is kind of a personal story, but I've told a lot of those so far.
420 Headshot says, it's like you guys don't want to talk about Target.
So,
So go ahead and not talk about Target.
no, it is about Target.
Yay!
He did that armpit thing.
I
Did
did.
you see?
Did you get a good win?
I was looking over here.
It'll
But,
happen again.
When I was in high school, my first real love was this awesome guy
Cocaine.
that there was always it's a hell of a drug from what I understand.
That was a great story. Go on.
So this guy that seemed perfect, but there was something always wrong. Of there's something that just isn't right here that needs to be fixed because this guy obviously isn't happy and he should be. And then he went through these phases, and I'll stop using he at this point because I feel bad for using he in the first place, but eventually she realized that she was not a guy. And
I use the story in a lot of different aspects. One is that my grandmother eventually got to the point where she would be militant and fight people over like transgender people are valid because of the fact that she saw this person go through this experience. But also the fact that, I'm sorry, if somebody sat there and tried to say that she needs to be in the men's bathroom, I would be ready to fucking fight somebody.
Here's the other thing, though, is that because I've been having a lot of conversations with a lot of ignorant people lately, and here in South Texas, and you know, they feel like they need to have a personal experience for a trans person to be legitimized, and we don't. We have science. Gender dysphoria is a thing. We know it's a thing, a legitimate thing.
It actually goes beyond that. In the womb, developing in the womb, because like I said, graduate student, I took human sexuality, and one of the things that we learned in there is that when the genitals are developing, that is long after the brain has developed. Mm-hmm. And there are so many different things that can affect that.
Mm-hmm. Tell me more about...
I'm sorry, that was great.
Tell me more about the genitals developing.
Well, one of the things is that you can have something called androgen insensitivity syndrome, which is basically where the inside of the insides are all totally feminine, or actually they're all totally masculine, and on the outside it develops completely feminine because of androgen insensitivity syndrome. You've also got intersex people, which actually are 1 in 100 people in the population. That is 1 in 100 people that are born with genitals that are ambiguous. And for a long time, the response to that was to immediately surgically cosmetic surgery an infant for what it looks more like. So it's really fucked up. And so these people would grow up transgender because, oh, we can't check the fucking genetics. We'll just, perform cosmetic we'll just perform cosmetic surgery on an infant. And so transgenderism really isn't as big of a deal as people think it is. Like, it is a big deal in the sense of people shouldn't be treating them like fucking shit. It's just something that happens. It's really more like a deformity in the same way that, like, again, personal shit, I don't care. Go ahead.
Sorry, it's more of like a what?
It's more of kind of a whoop.
I like armpits. I don't know.
Mine smells like shit right now. It's more of like an almost deformity thing, of like your genitals didn't develop the same way as your brain, and so like that in any other circumstance.
I would not call it a deformity. That's probably an unfortunate term.
Yeah, that is an unfortunate term.
It's a disorder. It is not mental illness.
No, it's not.
But anyway, for me, the thing is, even let's pretend that what Christians say are going to happen, because apparently Christians really want to go in women's rooms. Like Christian men, they really want to go in there. I don't know what they think is going on in there. What's going on in there?
So, guys, like, seriously,
Pissing.
this is what I would argue with that. Yeah, pretty much.
Sexy stuff like
battle
that.
shits. You guys have all seen Harold and Kumar.
So what's up with the fucking sofas in there? I never did understand that. Why do you need sofas?
I really don't understand either.
I do. I mean, to wait for your girlfriend to chill.
Plus, where else are they going to pay you, like, your French whore or whatever? Or whatever.
I like them whenever I'm at the mall, dude, and I've been up all day and my mom has to shit or pee, and I was like, okay, I'll sit right here and check my phone,
But I really have to question this mentality of like, okay, you'll go through all of this shit that transgender people go through. You'll go through a full-on transition. You'll see half of your family fucking disown you just because you sexually assault women in the bathroom? Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, but I wish that every man who sexually assaulted a woman in the fucking bathroom, or a woman who sexually assaulted a man in a fucking bathroom, would actually have to go through that shit every single time they try to fucking do it. Also, Katie Scary, yes. I have seen them in the gallery in Houston and a random thing in the library at A&M. That's it. Thank you. That is true.
There's a really great meme. I think it's a comedian maybe that's going around that says that the fact that there are trans people in Alabama is sufficient proof that it's not a choice.
Yes.
Fucking for real.
No one would choose that
in Alabama.
Right? In Alabama, right?
I'm sorry. At that point, you're not transgender. You have masochism issues.
Dude, the more you educate yourself, this is another thing I don't like to admit because it's embarrassing because I'm 25, you know. But like in January, that's whenever I looked into transgenderism, and I was like, oh, okay. There's actually a scientific, you know, reason why they're like that. I really honestly thought that they didn't have a mental disorder, but they wanted to be something. I was like, okay,
Sure.
just let them do whatever they want. You know what I mean? But I didn't know that.
It was like a real thing, not just sort of like
Yeah.
a fetish or something.
And the more I looked into it, I was like, dude, that's all it takes is for people to actually study this shit.
Right.
There's a really funny offshoot to that, actually. There was it's a woman on Reddit that I actually looked into her studies on it. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of like the dragonkin or like the dolphinkin, but people who think that they are an
yeah.
animal. What she had researched was that actually they were transgender, and it was so hard for them to accept that, knowing the stigmas that were
That makes a
there,
lot of sense.
that they instead took on this persona. And that shows you just how fucked up we treat transgender people. By the way, I don't know the statistics offhand, but for a transgender woman, the risk of sexual assault is highly increased. For a transgender woman of color, it is extremely increased. Why the fuck would you do that to yourself? As a sexual assault survivor, I can tell you that it's taken me over a decade to get over that. You would not do that to yourself willingly. I'm sorry,
love this
that's
girl so
bullshit.
much.
Let's talk about before we get out of here because we're running really long. Let's talk a little bit about an event that is in like the planning stages.
Oh, the lube testing?
All
All right, I'll tell that story since
Okay.
I was the one who kind of brought it in. So here's the story: is that with the group that I run on campus, not run, I'm just the president of it. Actually, Jeff, I think you actually created the Constitution for that, so shout out to you because I'm still using that shit.
You had like a real lawyer draft that shit.
Yeah. So one of the things that I did is that next semester I really wanted to focus on sex positivity. After this semester, I'd focused on building that community. And so what I did is I got our members to donate to the local kind of Planned Parenthood group here. We don't actually have one, but similar to that. We ended up donating $45. Before they even knew how much we were donating, they gave us over 300 condoms. I know because I packaged 300 of them, and I still have a shitload left.
And she's used like 150. It's been
I
like
have birth control. Are you kidding? That's super expensive otherwise.
it's been like a week. So 150.
But like we ended up getting a bunch of lube packets because I wanted to also, you know, involve like, you know, gay people on campus because I'm sorry, if anybody else has had anal sex, you know what fucking sucks without lube. So I wanted to make sure that we had that too.
I still haven't done that yet.
But I wanted to make sure that we were giving that out too because also you risk anal tears if you don't have
Okay,
lubricant.
so this just in: anal sex without lube is not good. So
It's really painful.
this is
and dangerous.
what you learn on this show.
It's our educational outreach.
In fact, that's why we're a 501c3 is because we provide this public service. So just in case you missed it, anal sex without lube hurts.
Don't do it.
So we ended up getting a bunch of packets of warming lube, but then other than that, we got a bunch of flavored lube. And so as a joke during one of our meetings, we started tasting it, and one of our members decided it would be really funny. Jesse, I don't know if he's been on here yet, but he decided it would be funny to like have a wine tasting almost of the lubricant packets. So I guess that's happening on here now. That just kind of was
Yeah,
decided.
no. Well, we were talking earlier that we should have that here because that's classic Atheist Airwaves post-show content is to have lube tasting, please. But what I was, but here's what I was saying, and Kat was kind of confirming what I was saying is that I feel like there needs to be a more mature science around flavored lubricant because, you know, just like you have wine pairings with.
This one tastes good
Excuse me,
with
this is
Tony.
serious.
This one tastes good with this one.
So the white meat, you need to have this kind. But no,
Your face.
you have-
That needs to be a reaction Jeff right now.
it's a Jeff, but
I'm not really into the fruity flavors.
that's her
Dude,
department.
it's all pink.
That's all we have. That's all we have.
Coconut oil,
But like, I
You can
really,
use that for
which
fucking
you
anything.
don't actually want to use it with condoms, though.
Really?
PSA. Yeah, well, it deteriorates.
okay, so this is important information, everyone. So yeah, don't have anal sex without lube, and coconut oil
You
deteriorates
can use
condoms.
for everything except for
Deteriorates condoms, but other than that, it's great lube.
It's great everything. For your hair, your omelets, like fucking everything.
Literally fucking everything. But not with condoms.
420 headshot, by the way, you're not doing it right unless the other person enjoys it too. Just so you know. I know that was a joke, but still.
So what he said was, I just tell my partners to bite the pillow. I'm going in raw. But
Unless your partners consent to that, I'm not going to kink shame anybody.
well, it's like he's giving him fair warning. Like,
I don't feel comfortable around you anymore.
We found out the truth about him. Racist.
God. But here's the thing: is that so flavored lube, great, and tasting. We're definitely gonna do it. You have to hook us up, so you'll be
Okay.
on again
I will.
soon. You'll bring it. With
I was
you?
actually going to bring like oyster dishes to do
Oh,
that
that's
with.
perfect.
Yes.
That's perfect.
We'll have to like dress up in like pearls, and of course I'm going to wear a pearl necklace for this. I have to.
But so anyway,
I hope somebody got
have,
that joke.
I'm gonna out myself. I've never used flavored lubricants of any kind, but I just assumed that like it would.
That's shocking. You look like you use that shit all the time.
We just found out how white Christian
I'm
really
kind of
is.
a naturalist. I prefer.
Vagina
Mm-hmm.
juice.
Yeah, like if you could have vagina flavored lube, that'd be great. In fact, if you have any of that, you should bring it.
What does
because-
a vagina taste like to you? What
Well,
do you
to
taste?
quote the vagina monologues, I don't want my pussy to smell like rain. So.
What?
I've never seen that, and
I
I,
love
don't.
it.
know
Oh
what
my
that
god,
means.
you need to watch that. You need to
It's
watch
great,
that.
but I love the smell of rain. I wouldn't mind.
It's like
Right?
I don't buy the fish, so I can't taste the fish. I buy the fish because I want to taste the fish.
How does
I eat
wait,
pussy because I want to taste the fucking pussy.
How does a vagina taste to you guys?
I don't know that I can describe it.
It's-
And I think it
It tastes like
varies.
penis to me.
Yeah, that's true
Yeah.
too.
It varies.
But
Even the same one varies.
Mm-hmm.
It varies as much as dick does. Like
Yeah.
some dick tastes like whiskey mixed with a little bit of chlorine, and some taste really, really bad.
Oh, we have flavored lube in the house. It's strawberry. That's good.
let's all try it.
All right,
Yes,
let's
yes.
see.
But like I would say that
lotion
pussy usually
lotion.
tastes pretty good.
Motion lotion.
Are we gonna quality test this after the show?
I'm afraid this is gonna like spray everywhere if I try to open it.
Just aim it at your clothes.
No, that's why I'm aiming at a cat.
No, not this shirt. Not my Sailor Neptune shirt. Maybe if it was Aquaman, I'd be okay. Bitch.
I don't know if I can open this. I assume
I got
that's
it.
what I'm supposed to do.
He's never used it before, remember?
No, I totally haven't. Because I mean,
Jesse got it for me last time.
it would never occur to me.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna taste
All
it
right, go for
anyway.
it. Yeah.
I can kind of taste it already.
Was it good?
Yeah, it tastes pretty good.
Strawberries. This needs to be a GIF right here.
Oh my god, you did not just do that.
Bite the lube.
Okay,
420's going in.
so this is how we did it beforehand. Is like squeeze a little bit on your finger and be like, I'm tasting some strawberry notes.
I think we should test this on an actual vagina or penis, though.
Yeah.
Get it
Maybe we can
accurate.
borrow the angel.
We've been saying we're gonna have a sex show forever. Oh god. Oh god.
I can't really taste it.
I can, but I'm just like it's very. There's an alcohol taste to it.
It kind of tastes like cough syrup. That's what we found with all the other ones. But
I guess
I would look that up.
petroleum based probably.
I don't get. I really don't get the strawberry.
yeah, it just tastes
Oh, it's
like
very
lube.
faint. It's very faint. But
It tastes like about as much strawberry as I had in those beers earlier.
I don't know. Like I always assume because, like I said, I've never used it. I never wanted to really use it. I mean, okay,
gonna
maybe,
use it
maybe I
tonight,
will, but I. But I always assumed that it would be like overwhelming because I assumed it was for people who did not enjoy the
Food?
taste of vaginas or.
All right, I will say this: the first girl that I went down on tasted like
Salt.
possibly the best thing I've ever had in my life.
What?
Second girl I went down on, this is why I can't handle the idea of Chick-fil-A being anti-gay because she tasted kind of like their chicken nuggets. Next girl tasted like really bad cheese. Since then, all the other girls that I've been with have been pretty fucking amazing. Like kind of like almost like a buttery taste. So like honestly, I can see, if your vagina has some pretty healthy stuff going on down there, then probably whenever you add lube to it, it's just going to be like a butter mixed with these fruit flavors, which
Yeah.
I imagine is why they put the fruit flavors with it. It's so it kind of tastes more like strawberry shortcake.
Oh, it's like flavor matching. That's what it is.
Which, by the way, that may be another show. I did find a whole list of cocktails that were really fun, where you have 2 cocktails, you pour them separately, and then you kiss after drinking them. To where, like, one was,
I
like,
see. So
peanut
there's,
butter
like, a
flavored, and one was
mixture of
chocolate,
flavors.
so you had
Oh,
Reese's.
that's a
and
great
yeah,
idea.
I thought that would be a really cool idea in the future.
That's a great
But
idea.
anyway, so I think we've already gone long, right?
Oh, way long.
Okay, should we do our salutations, or does anybody else have something to say?
I just wanted to point out 420 Headshot notes that Jeff is a pro at the lube thing. So
Yes, NS Mike cocktails, yes.
Oh, excuse me, that's Ince Mike. Okay?
Ince Mike? Is it Ince Mike? I'm sorry.
Well, no, it's probably NS Mike, but we call him Ince Mike, and that if you're going to be on this show, you have to know that. That is
Okay.
a thing you have to know.
This last one is pretty good. The grape lube would be good with the cheese. I don't know offhand. I don't know if they have wine flavored lube, but you know what? If I'd been drinking a Cabernet, maybe.
Oh my
okay.
god, like tequila
Find that cheese
lube.
girl and find out. Find out lube.
I don't think she's gonna fuck me again. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, this has been a really interesting post-show and show in general. I don't know that we're gonna top the corpse fucking period sex thing anytime soon. So congratulations, everybody. Good job.
Woo.
Boom. 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 All right. We'll see you guys next week.